Welcome to the MBG Podcast. Let's fire everybody.
All right, welcome everybody to episode number 141, the Message Board Geniuses podcast. This is Who's. I got Casey, Courtney, MBG. So before we get into it today, did any of y'all get hit by the snowpocalypse by any chance?
No.
None of you?
No. Oh, yeah, I did.
You did? Oh, okay. All right, good.
Yeah. Kids haven't been to school all week.
So yeah, I haven't
it's
either.
It's been a tough one, man.
It has been.
That is tough.
You guys got snow? We got tornado warnings.
Yeah, they are finally doing a virtual day tomorrow, but we've had a packed house. My mother-in-law, we Ubered her here so she wouldn't get snowed in at her house, and now she's snowed in here. So I love her, and I'm ready for the snow to melt. So
no, we didn't get anything. We got a little rain, and then one day my son ran into the room, and he was so excited. He said, "Daddy, your car has ice on it." And that was it.
And it's not even like fun snow because it iced over the top of it, so you can't like sled on it or anything.
We actually have it's starting to get very cold here. By Saturday, the low is 21 and the high is 37, and that's the day of the Senior Bowl. So I was just telling my friend, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to participate in that this year because I don't want to be cold.
Oh yeah, that's your spot though.
That's right. You went last year, right?
I did, yeah. I go every year. I usually just go though, not for the football. I go because I get to go in the tents and you get free food and free booze.
There you go.
You see, the word senior in Senior Bowl has a double meaning.
Double meaning for me.
Courtney gets invited to the Senior Bowl.
The Senior Citizen Bowl.
Is there a football game attached to it?
Yeah, no, I don't usually ever attend the football game, actually. I just stay in the tent and drink.
That's like all those horse races, right? All those famous horse races. That's what you do. If you see a horse, you lose. If you see a football game, you've lost the day.
Oh yeah, we had a horse race in Charlottesville twice a year, and I don't know how many years I actually saw a horse. I bet on them some, but
my wife went to Loyola in Maryland, and they used to go to the Preakness, and she said the same thing. I'm like, so even big horse races, you paying money to go in, you're not going to see a horse? She said no.
Did she ever do a urinal porta potty run by any chance?
I don't believe so.
Have you seen those before?
I have, and they're wonderful.
Yeah, the Preakness is it's toned down a lot over the years, but you see a lot of Maryland pride at the Preakness.
We like to call it eclectic, an eclectic mix.
Yeah, it's not quite as fancy as the Kentucky Derby, I would say. All right, so not only did I get snowed in, and then MBG as well, but now college football season's over. So got a whole lot of free time. What have y'all been doing? Anything fun?
No. No. I take that back. It's Mardi Gras season now. So the parades kick off on Friday, which it's going to be freezing. So I don't know if I'm going to go, but I love Mardi Gras. So I might. I undecorated my Christmas tree, redecorated it as a Mardi Gras tree.
That's fun.
And yeah. Hey,
nice.
Don't judge me. Somebody was like, "Oh, you were too lazy to take down your tree." I was like, "Do you know what it takes to undecorate a tree fully and then redecorate that bitch?"
Yeah, that would suck. Ours was up for way too long, and then we didn't get rid of it quick enough, so now it's iced over in our tiny backyard. We've got this giant tree that's probably going to be there until March now. So
hell yeah.
The dog loves it though.
Oh yeah, yep.
So my kid got asked, he's 8. He got asked to play and try out for a travel soccer team.
And that's going to take up the rest of your year.
Yeah.
And in my world, 8 years old is way too young. So when he tried out, because he has a friend on the team, he tried out. He got asked to play in their winter training. And he's all right. If he understood the game, he'd be really good, but he doesn't. So he's just mediocre right now. So of course we get a fancy email that says, "Congratulations, this particular club wants you." So I'm like, oh God, here we go. $675 just to be part of the team for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then, if they want a jersey, that's another $240. Oh, and they practice Tuesdays and Thursdays. And Tuesday high here in the Charleston, South Carolina area was like 31. So at 8 o'clock at night when they were practicing, for 8-year-olds, by the way, it was about 17 degrees. So that's what I'm doing with my free time now. Because
this is like outdoor? It's not even like indoor soccer?
Yeah, because they have their first season spring game next Saturday. Thankfully, it'll be like 50s again next week. But yeah,
you told me this isn't spring?
This week is really cool. Well, that was the thing too. I was like, yeah, we accept, My kid was so excited, which made it worthwhile. My bank account was not excited. But they were like, okay, great. First practice is tonight.
What?
And I looked at my wife. I'm like, yeah, he's on the team. She's like, great. And I said, yeah, and his practice is tonight. She's like, in this cold? Yeah. So he wore like full sweats, hat, the whole nine to play soccer. It was embarrassing. I mean, fun.
Sometimes it's okay to teach your kids at a young age that all their dreams are not going to come true. I'll just say that.
I'm a sucker. I'm such a sucker. I told him, like, not until 10 are we going to even talk about travel soccer. Yeah, then he gets two guys come and ask him. Next thing I know, I'm like, which one are you going to play for?
And that's not even his main sport, right?
It is his main sport, yeah.
Oh, it is? I thought it was baseball for some reason.
No, he told me this. He doesn't want to play baseball anymore. It literally broke my heart. But at least he did it at 8 and not 18.
Hey, that's a smart kid, Casey. That's a smart kid.
Smart kid.
See,
real sports.
That's when you tell them, well, then you can't do travel soccer. That's how you bargain with an 8-year-old, Casey. That's
right.
But he's smart though. He's like, see, Dad, I'm saving you money. You know how much it is to play town baseball? $35.
But it's baseball.
I could buy you 7 jerseys.
Kind of the same situation. I don't know how much it's going to be yet, but so we are done with wrestling. Wrestling is done. I'm proud to announce that Ansley has got 2 medals. 2.
Nice.
She has zero wins. 0.
Okay.
It doesn't matter.
2 medals. 0 wins.
Yeah.
But we had our last tournament. It was home last Saturday. So that's my last Saturday of having to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. So that's fantastic.
Oh,
I'm really pumped up about that. But I think now we are going to do like a club, like on the off season, just so, we don't get rusty, stay in shape. Yeah. Don't know how much this is going to cost, but we'll see. To be continued.
A lot.
Yeah. I remember I played club volleyball in high school. That was expensive. We had to go travel every weekend, staying in hotels. I mean, It's not cheap.
We got a game in 3 weeks in Richmond Hill, Georgia, which if you have a map, it's not close to us.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah.
I don't leave the South,
Good times.
Man. Starting to feel like a bad parent.
No, you parented well is what you did.
Yeah. I can tell you what my kids and I accomplished. We had a very intellectual and athletic last couple of days. We picked up a video game that they had last played when they were 9. It's like a Lego Xbox game. And we spent literally 2 days finishing the game. So my wife was very proud of all 3 of us. I don't think any of us showered. Basically, at one point, she walked in the room and was like, have any of the 3 of you moved? And I was like, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I love that. If it makes you feel any better, I did absolutely lose all of my last night on my kid because I was like, did you do your note card for your geography test? Yeah. I looked down, clearly seeing the note card with 5 words on it. And I was like, you little liar. You lied to me. I was like, it is 9:00 at night. Now I'm going to have to stay awake and you're messing with my sleep. I lost it. She was like looking at me like, this bitch is crazy. So,
All right, MBG, what have you been up to?
Not really nothing, if I'm going to be honest. But we can lament the end of football season all we want, but the 2 best months are upon us as far as sports go. February and March, college basketball.
Started college baseball in February, yeah.
No, Casey, that's dumb. Nobody watches that.
Clemson's doing great in basketball.
Yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Seriously, February and March, college basketball are probably some of my favorite months.
Yeah, we got some real exciting things happening in basketball over here.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
You guys are bringing in pros and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I said that I voted that we bring in Derrick Henry back if we're going big.
Well, the Giannis wants to be traded from the Bucks, and so there's a possibility
He's going to the Dodgers.
Alabama could maybe Alabama could trade for him, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want some young blue chippers. Alabama's got a couple of those.
Yeah.
Well, we could all 4 make the tournament this year. That'd be fun.
It would be fun.
There you go. That gives me something to look forward to.
Yeah.
I don't like February. It's usually around February, though, that a game brings me back into college basketball. I haven't had it yet. I did watch that Virginia game last night. Was it last night?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame game, yeah.
And it was a good one for me to almost get back into the game. I'm still searching for that one. I fell asleep for the BYU Arizona game. I heard that was a decent game too.
Oof,
but
that was a wild
I'm looking
ending.
for one that just kind of grabs me and for the rest of the season. Now I'll be locked in March. But
well, okay, I got one for you, Casey. Saturday morning, about 1:00 Eastern time, San Diego State at Utah State. I will be there, live and in person. Watch that one. That'll be a game for you.
Any spitwads going to be flying around, MBG?
Well, the tickets they gave me are about 30 rows up, so I'm really going to have to work on I'm going to have to flex my lungs, work out my lungs ahead of time if I'm going to hit the court from 30 rows up.
Yeah.
No broken water pipes underneath the bench or anything.
That's right.
Well, I mean, there might be some shenanigans. I don't know. We'll see. Turn it on and see, Casey.
I will.
Turn it on.
I mean, based on the stories you tell us, I would love to be involved in some MBG shenanigans. I'm not going to lie.
1,000%.
Come to Logan on Saturday. I'll show you some.
I'll probably have a new video game to finish MBG.
I can just see MBG like sitting there on the couch watching something. His kid comes over. I was like, look at this. Look what I did. Look what I did at school. And he'd just be like, that's dumb. And just keep watching TV. He'd be like, that's stupid. That's dumb.
Freaking nerd.
Freaking nerd.
Get out of my head. Get out of my face, nerd.
I read this whole book. You're such a nerd.
My kids don't read no books.
My kids don't read no books.
That's awesome. All right, so we got another good mailbag question this week. And Casey, I hate to tell you this, but it comes from our friend 5 Foot Nothing Pod.
Oh.
Yeah. So here's his question. It says, what's your favorite snow day story when you got to miss school? If snow days weren't a thing for you, like Courtney, your favorite story when you had an unexpected day off or skipped school? Y'all have anything good, Casey?
Mailbag questions, me taking artistic license collision course. So I have a ton of memories about snow days growing up in New Jersey. I'm old enough to remember the parent phone chain to get the message out that the school was closed. Do you guys have that? Where you had to call the next person in line. And then the town fire siren going off to alert all the kids to just roll over and go back to sleep. Of course, I made money poorly shoveling neighbors' driveways. I played football with the friends in the neighborhood in the snow, which was fun, and would even strap on the old skates and go to the neighborhood pond and play ice hockey until lights would go off. But my story is actually when I was teaching in 2001, I believe. 2 of my buddies and I rented a house, our first foray into adulthood, a 3-bedroom house for 3 single 20-somethings. I think it was Martin Luther King Day, and the snow was forecasted to be about 6-8 inches maybe. again, I was teaching, so we were off that Monday, and it just continued to snow. My roommates had office jobs, and they had to go to work. And as the plows had done a good enough job to clear the roads, but our driveway was still in shambles. So Tuesday comes, and it just continues to snow. But my boys go to work. I'm talking like 12 to 15 more inches. It was coming down. I had the idea that I was going to help two of my best friends and roommates, and I would shovel the driveway so that they could get in. Because, the plows, they hit the snow, and now you have like 6 feet at the edge of your driveway. So I started shoveling. I had this great idea. I got all layered up. I'm doing actually a heck of a job. And then I turned around, and the snowfall had covered literally where I had just worked. So I go back to that area where I just was and double work for those keeping track at home. And I continued on. And I got to the end of the driveway, and it looked like I hadn't done anything at all, like literally. And now I know you're supposed to wait until it stops to start shoveling snow, but that's what I get for trying to be nice. So I'm at the end of the driveway, huffing and puffing, sweating under my 12 layers of clothes. I just decided to throw the shovel in the ground, walk up the street to the local liquor store, pick up a 30-pack of beer, carry it home, sit in my chair, and start drinking. And when the boys got home, they had plenty of colorful things to say to me. They were not happy that I was on the couch, 3 sheets to the wind instead of shoveling so that they could get in. So they walked out and started shoveling. And I ended up having the whole week off. We got like 28 inches of snow over the course of that week.
Oh, those are the best.
So I walked and bought a few more 30 packs. I remember it vividly, other than the week, the year, where I was living.
Whether it even happened.
Right.
Yeah, it might not have. There was a lot of beer, MBG.
All right, Courtney, what about you?
I just took a sip of my water. So obviously I can count on one hand, how many times we've had snow days. We've had ice and stuff. So I thought I'd go a different route with this question because they said, a day we got out of school or skip school. And I'm not incriminating myself on anything from my skip school days because I would never do that. But we have gotten out of school for hurricanes. And the one I remember the most was I was actually old enough to drink at this point, but college. And it was Hurricane Ivan. I don't remember what year it was. It was like the first really big hurricane that I remember. And my friend's dad, it was just my parents' best friends, ran these hotels in the area, and they just built a new one, and it was hurricane rated windows and everything. And so he was like, why don't y'all just all come stay here? And we're like, yeah, that sounds great. So all the kids, us, got rooms. We bought alcohol. We were like, hell yeah, this is going to be fun. It was a big ass party. We had the whole hotel. The news was there. They were staying there with us. We would all go outside and see how long we could stand out there. And we all thought it was fun and games until it really hit. The windows were breathing. You could put your hand and feel the windows breathing. And we're like, okay, this is maybe a little serious. Everybody ended up in the stairwells, no power. I mean, it ended up being kind of a disaster, but at least we had each other.
There you go.
Ivan was 04.
Ivan was 04. Yeah, so it was a few years after I graduated.
So you were what, 42?
Yeah.
43?
Yeah, pretty much. Somewhere in there. So long ago, I can't even remember.
In your 17th year of college?
My 17th year of college, yeah. But it was fun. It was great. But we have hurricane days, not snow days. Most recent was Sally, I think. And we thought Sally was just going to be a hurricane, category 2. I think it ended up being a 2 or 3. But it sat on top of us for 24 hours. It just stopped. And it saturated everything. And then when the wind would blow, everything just fell over. All the trees, everything. And it was just a huge disaster. Power lines, I remember my parents' house, the line that runs to the house, trees fell on it. Then they had to get someone out there to repair it before they could run the line back. So it was 2 weeks before they got power. It was fun.
Good times.
Good times. I'd take that over snow though. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, MBG, you probably didn't get off for snow, did you?
I was going to say it was fairly commonplace for us to get a lot of snow. So we didn't have a lot of snow days, but we did occasionally have snow days. And one I remember, I don't remember how old I was, but I remember my friend's dad decided he was going to take us all up tubing. So we'd drive up the mountain tubing. So we'd have a bunch of inner tubes that are inflated that you ride down like sleds. So we go tubing for a few hours. And then he decides to take us back home. So he loads all these tubes in the back of his truck. I don't know. There was like 6, 7, 8 of those tubes in the back. And we're all in the cab of the truck. And like when we're driving back and all the tubes just start flying out the back of the truck. So my friend's dad, he had a mouth on him. He started saying some words that I, at that age, had never heard before. But he just starts yelling at my friend, calling him a dumb MFer and all this stuff. Like it was his fault the tubes had flown out the back when his dad was the one that put him in. So he gathers up all the tubes and he made my friend lay in the bed of the truck with the tubes all just over his body. So he's like in the tubes.
Over the tubes.
Exactly. So he's got tubes around his waist, his chest, his legs, his knees, his arms. And it's probably 10 degrees outside. And he has to lay in the back of the truck. It was probably a good 15-mile drive back home in the back of the bed of the truck, just with tubes, holding the tubes down. So that's one that I remember, which I thought was funny. But I learned some new words that day. I learned how to use swear words in a lot of different formats that day.
Nouns, verbs.
It helped shape you into the person you are today.
That's right.
For sure.
It does, doesn't it?
That's awesome.
It was a good story.
I have one question for y'all that I did not ask that I wanted to. Have y'all ever eaten MREs?
No.
Me was ready to eat. Just the ice cream.
Just the ice cream. So after Ivan, you could go to get your car, and each car could get, like a box or two of MREs, ice, and water. So obviously, my friends and I all each got in our cars and lined up and got MREs, water, and ice because we just wanted the MREs. Well, don't eat them. They're awful. When I realized they're like 1 million calories per MRE. It's awful.
Delicious.
But kids, earmuffs. Do not do this at home. You can take the little heating element and put it in a water bottle and shake it up, and it's like a MRE bomb.
Oh, there you go.
Nice. That sounds like an MBG thing.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
we rode around and people had no power, throwing that out the window and scaring the out of people. I'm sure in a neighborhood. So don't do that.
Mm-mm.
Okay, sorry. I did want to ask y'all to eat this.
So I don't have a great one for this. Did y'all have senior hook day when you were in high school?
I have no idea what that means.
It's like where you pick a day and the whole senior class skips.
Oh, I did that a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah,
That
this
was
is
a
like the whole.
disciplinarian at my school.
Yeah, so it was like the whole class was supposed to not go, and then you go have a party somewhere or whatever.
Yeah.
So we have one, and we had this one girl in our high school class was probably 350, something like that. And this one girl we were friends with, her parents were loaded and completely absent. So she would have people over to her house all the time. So she, we all skipped. She had probably 100 people over, at her house, in the morning. We were there basically all day, drinking or whatever. And the main thing, I remember being there. I don't remember a lot of details except for this one thing. And again, it's not a great story, but it's a very vivid memory. So the main thing I remember is this girl had a horse trailer in her backyard. And I was hammered. And this girl who was one of my best friends, still is one of my best friends. I saw her sneak in there with this kid who I didn't know that well. But they were clearly going in there to hook up or whatever. And then she walked out a little bit later. And I was just roasting the shit out of her for thinking she was being sneaky because it's broad daylight. It's 11 a.m. or something, for having a random drunk hookup in the middle of the day. And she just looked at me and said, well, it made sense it was in a horse trailer because he's hung like one. And I don't know why. It's one of my...
Wow.
It was just a brilliant line. And so then that's literally this kid. That's how we all remember him is, yeah, he's the guy who's hung like a donkey. So, that's
Way to
it.
go.
Yeah.
Attaboy.
Yeah. You wouldn't think it looking at him, but apparently he had a hammer. All right. I guess I can stop talking about his dick now. So that's my bad. I just made myself uncomfortable. I should probably stop using people's real names too. But anyway, that brings us to our next segment, Genius of the Week. As always, each of us is going to nominate a player, coach, team, conference, someone who did something particularly dumb in the last week. We'll put it to a Twitter vote and see who wins. For our last vote, Casey's nominee, the tampering, won with 44% of the vote.
So dumb.
Yeah, it's so ridiculous. It sounds like a movie, right? Like a horror movie.
Right.
Yeah. Followed by Courtney's nominee, the NCAA, with 35%. MBG's nominee, Fang Wang, finished in third with 15% of the vote. And my nominee, poor Jacob Infante, finished in last with 6%. So now Courtney's in the lead with 2 wins, followed by Casey with 1, and MBG and Who's are tied with 0.
Wow.
So I know I'm not used to being in this position here. I don't like
That's weird.
it. It is weird. All right, Courtney.
So this week, I am going to go with a podcast favorite, Diego Pavia. And even though his height is listed at 6 feet on the Vanderbilt website, he officially measured in at 5'9" and whatever. I'm not using his fraction of a height. And I'm not a mathematician, but after watching the Heisman, I don't think any of us thought that man was 6 foot tall, standing up there with Mendoza, Love, saying, I mean, the man looked like him and Clack were the same height. Like, if you know, you know. A few of my favorite tweets about it were, he looks like he sells candles out of the back of his Subaru in Sedona. All the weight on his shoulders from carrying Vandy to the NC, which national championship, I guess, I don't know, really took a toll on him. Bro shrunk because of it. He's not even tall enough to get on most amusement park rides. Shout out 3-year Letterman. Someone posted a quote, I don't know, because, you know, we don't fact check here, that Pavia said, my size has been doubted my whole life. And someone replied, my brother in Christ, we see your measurements. You're the only one doubting your size. And then this one was my favorite. This one will be Who's favorite too. People think that he was 6 feet. Go around telling people they have 15-inch wieners. So, even though he isn't the first man that has lied about his size, Diego Pavia is my genius of the week.
I can't fault the man. Nobody ever says they're 5'9". No man has ever said, yes, I'm 5'9". Every man who's 5'9" or somewhat close to that will always say 5'10" or 5'11".
5'10" I'm good with.
So,
I think Vandy had him at 6 feet.
No man in the history of the world has ever said, I'm 5'9".
That's like Clack saying, I'm 5'9". And then standing next to all of us, and everybody's like, oh, no, you're not.
So, listen, I was 5'10" and a half my whole life. I had 2 back surgeries. Going to get a physical. I see what the nurse has written down as my height, and to MBG's point, I just said no. So we negotiated, and I am officially listed at 5'10". That's all I'll say.
Attaboy.
Yay.
I think 75% of all men are 5'10".
I'm glad we have a guest tonight. Otherwise, I feel like our show would be called something around wieners or something.
Yeah, probably.
15-inch wieners. That'd be a great show name.
Yeah.
All right, MBG. Who do you have this?
All right. Well, I'm going to go to my home state of Utah for this one. You got to hang with me on this one because the real kicker's at the end. So this happened in Orem, Utah, of all places. A woman was arrested for driving under the influence after trying to pick her daughter up from an Orem daycare center with a blood alcohol content in excess of the legal limit. Whitney Jensen, 39, was arrested for offenses including driving under the influence and drinking alcohol in a vehicle. At 6:22 p.m., officers received reports from a concerned daycare worker of a parent driving under the influence, showing signs of severe impairment while picking up their juvenile daughter. Upon arrival, officers observed that the child was not properly restrained in the vehicle. Jensen was unable to stand up straight without help and refused to do a field sobriety test and was promptly arrested for suspicion of DUI. All right, here we go. Upon arrival to the jail, Jensen provided a preliminary breath test result 8 times over the legal limit. After further tests at the hospital, she was transported to the jail without incident. 8
Wait, so what
times.
was her BAC?
Well, 0.08 is the legal limit.
0.64?
So, yeah,
Should be
I mean,
dead.
you could be dead
Well,
twice.
Hold that side. I believe Utah reduced theirs to 0.06. So
0.48
still, she's
is
she's 0.5. And that's Utah. I mean, the way I understand it, the alcohol in Utah is not near as strong. So the amount of
It's
alcohol
doing some work.
you got to drink to get to a 0.5 BAC is quite something. And then still being coherent enough to get behind the wheel, know where your daughter's at, drive there, pick her up. I mean, that's an impressive
How do you know
feat for
what
Miss
a car
Jensen.
is at 0.5? I mean, what?
Right? That's what I'm saying. That's not her first time.
According to Google, 0.48 is an extreme life-threatening level of alcohol intoxication, typically indicating severe alcohol poisoning, coma, or death. At this level, the brain's nerves centers for breathing and heartbeat are severely depressed, requiring immediate emergency medical
I mean,
intervention.
she drove and got to the school. That's badass.
She's still functioning.
Yeah.
Like her body and mind, to some extent, was still functioning. So, for that whole thing, Whitney Jensen of Orem, Utah, is my genius of the week.
It's impressive.
Do y'all remember Vodka Sam from a few years ago on Twitter?
Mm-hmm. And what was she at?
Hers
What
was
her
like
blood alcohol
0.35 or something, and she was hammered. So, 0.48. I've never seen anyone blow that. That's
Utah,
amazing.
that's impressive because Utah sucks to drink in. I tried that.
All right, so
fair point.
My genius of the week is the NFL Pro Bowl. So earlier this week, it was announced that Browns rookie quarterback Shedeur Sanders had been added to the AFC Pro Bowl squad. Thousands of stat nerds immediately took to Twitter to point out that Sanders' stats were less than stellar last season. So my personal favorites, one got posted of the 16 AFC quarterbacks with 200 or more pass attempts. Sanders ranked 15th in yards, 15th in touchdowns, 16th in quarterback rating, 16th in completion percentage, and 16th in success rate. And then this one is even more impressive. Going back to 2006, there have been 696 seasons where a quarterback threw at least 200 passes in a season. Sanders' QBR ranked 692 out of 696. You get a special bonus if you can guess one of the guys who finished below Shedeur Sanders.
Nathan Peterman.
No, that's a good. He probably didn't throw enough passes. That's the only reason. One was the number 1 draft pick.
Ryan Leaf.
Oh, no, that's a great guess, too. He was too early. This only goes back to 06. So, Marcus Russell.
God, I was about to say that.
I mean, this is how bad his season was. These are the 4 guys who were worse over the last 20 years. Jamarcus Russell, Jimmy Clausen, Blaine Gabbert, and Josh McCown.
It's a good crowd.
Yeah. Right. The announcement did lead to some hilarious comments on Twitter, however, including the following. Colonel Sanders deserves to make the Pro Bowl more than Shedeur. Another guy said, anytime you can add the NFL's 41st rated passer to the Pro Bowl, you got to do it. And these last 2 are awesome. Finally caught a break. My Shador Sanders Pro Bowl, Bill Belichick no Hall of Fame parlay paid out at plus 600 trillion. And then the last one was Luka got traded for a box of Lucky Charms, and Shador Sanders made the Pro Bowl. I'm going to go ask my boss for 6 figures since things are just happening for no reason. So, for all those reasons, the NFL Pro Bowl is my genius of the week. Casey.
This week, my genius of the week is the NFL Hall of Fame voters. And now I'm not sure you've heard of this guy who was on the ballot. His name is Bill Belichick. Bella something. Bella Carosi. He coached the Jets, the Browns, and apparently a team in New England as well. Some know him as a cradle-robbing head coach of the North Carolina Tar Heels, but Belichick has the second most wins by a head coach all time behind only the great Don Shula, and won 6 Super Bowls in New England and 2 while a defensive coordinator with the New York Giants. If he's not a first-ballot Hall of Famer, there shouldn't be a Hall of Fame, and I hate the Patriots. So for that, the NFL Hall of Fame is my genius of the week.
All right, before we move on to our next segment, I want to give a quick shout out to Coach Letterman for sponsoring the MBG podcast. You can find his truth bombs on Twitter at 3Year Letterman and his life-changing books, Not Some Random Clown and Determined Look on Amazon. Also, doing a cross-promotion with the Sickos Committee podcast again this week. They had a new episode drop yesterday titled Texas Hot Dogs, which featured classic Sickos content, including the Wiener 500, the Bear Bryant Awards, They Just Tased Ryan, and much more. We love the Sickos, so check them out.
That's when you.
All right, y'all. We have another great guest for you this week. This week's guest was a national champion at Ohio State. Spent time in the NFL with the Chargers, Colts, and Seahawks. He's now a college football analyst for NBC Sports, where you can find him on the Big College Countdown. You can also find him on the Rushing the Field podcast with our friend Nicole Auerbach. Welcome to the show, Joshua Perry.
Yes, sir.
Joshua, welcome.
I appreciate y'all having me. Excited to do this.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
All right, so Joshua, when we have a guest on, we usually go around and have each of us ask you a question and just let you cook. Does that work?
All right. I can cook. Let's go.
All right, so I'm going to have Casey ask you a question that I won't hear, but I'll hear your answer, so we'll be good.
Mr. Joshua Perry, thank you so much for joining us on the Message Board Geniuses podcast. A former 4-star recruit out of high school. Remember when high school recruiting was a thing? Yeah, me neither. But former Ohio State Buckeye, coached by one of the Message Board's favorite coaches, Urban Meyer. 4th-round draft pick of San Diego Chargers. Played a few seasons with 3 teams before choosing to do a much more lucrative path as a radio guy. Locally in Columbus, Ohio, and now working with friend of the show and mortal Twitter enemy of Courtney, Nicole Auerbach. Thanks again for being here with us. And I'm a Clemson guy, so my coach has been in the news recently, and not for saying something stupid this time. So with all that's going on with NIL and transferring and tampering and everything, Ohio State was seen as like the most extreme offenders years ago for getting free tattoos. So my question to you, sir, is what tattoo did you get?
This is hilarious. This was like Tattoo Gate was like my junior and senior year in high school. And then I got to Ohio State and I waited up until my senior year before I got my first tattoo. And now I've got like a chest piece and a sleeve. And that's like the question where I was like, oh yeah, where'd you get that? How much did you pay for it?
I didn't mean it like that. It was more like just the joke.
It's a real thing around here though. And
you tell me you paid way too much for it.
Well, that's part of the problem, because now seeing what these kids are getting for free, it's really insane. And like to think about Tattoo-Gate in the context of college football today, like a free tattoo for exchanging memorabilia, by the way, like now these kids don't even really exchange anything of value. They say they're supposed to, but they don't. Like, it's crazy that my freshman year, we had a bowl ban off of that. And Jim Tressel, who was a legendary coach, like, man, had to disappear for a little while off of that. Totally insane stuff. I like what Dabo did, to be honest. I feel like we've been waiting for people to name names, and nobody does it because everybody is an offender to a certain level. And the thing about Dabo is he's so resistant to the new world that we know he's never tampered before. So he had no fear in calling anybody out, which is an interesting thing. But Man, I just sometimes I think back. Was a kid who grew up here in Columbus. Was a national champ. I led the team in tackles that year. Felt like there could have been a couple NIL deals that I could have done. So I missed out, but happy for the guys nowadays getting to do their thing, I guess.
Well, I was going to ask you that, like, as a former player, do you look at these kids like, oh man, like with some disdain, or are you kind of glad that, hey, finally they're getting some of what they're worth out of it, or a little bit of both? Or
it's a combo platter. Like I was always a realistic guy. Like I always felt like it would be nice to go to the local sandwich shop and get like a free sandwich, or maybe drive a courtesy car for a couple of weeks. Like I never envisioned a world where linebacker was going to get in a bidding war for $2 million. Like that to me was just outside of what I ever thought this thing could be. So I'm glad that we're here. I felt like you think back, there were a couple things that I feel like could have happened that prevented this. Number one, Northwestern, one of my high school teammates played there. Like they wanted to unionize. Like wouldn't collective bargaining be valuable right now? But also this idea of like, hey, if we throw these student athletes like $1,000 a month, $2,500 a month, just to get them to shut up, maybe this thing wouldn't be so out of control right now. But they never got to that point. So I feel like right now we're over the line, and I'm a little bitter that I couldn't participate in the over the lineness, right? But at the same time, I am glad that we are recognizing that student athletes do bring value to these athletic departments and should share in some of the money that's coming in.
Yeah, think about the guys who graduated in like 2019, before all this took off, just missing that by a year or two. I mean, there are a bunch of guys who didn't play in the league who probably could have made some life-changing money back then.
Man, I talked to Jake Butt, who's a great Michigan Wolverine. We shouldn't be friends right now, but we are. He's a two-time All-American. He's a Mackey Award winner, does great work on the Big Ten Network right now. And one of the things that we talk about is that exact idea of like just being past the cutoff line. He qualified for the settlement, so he's going to get some of the back pay. I was a year or two early leaving, so I don't get any of that. So like it's a thing that we joke about. But this idea of if I was 10 years younger, how different would life be? And we were two guys who were fortunate enough to play this game. We played at the highest level. Both of us had very short careers, and we're fortunate enough to parlay our football success into very, very good media careers, right? So like nobody should feel sorry for either one of us. But this idea of knowing how fragile the part after football is and being able to capitalize on the popularity of being a student athlete at Big State U and like having success, something certainly that would have been nice. And we just, a little bit too old, I guess. Wasn't young enough.
yeah.
All right, Courtney, what do you have for Joshua?
All right. Well, since it's like the 87th day of January, and this is about where people abandon their whole new year, new me and dry January, it feels like the right question to ask. Who do you think actually has the crazier diet, Tom Brady or Derrick Henry?
Oh, I did the research just as a refresher today, and everybody's talked about Tom Brady and, TB12 method, and like doesn't eat strawberries, doesn't do the nightshades, right? Like no tomatoes, no potatoes, eggplants, whatever, dairy-free, gluten-free. I feel like that's insane, especially for a guy, and the longevity speaks for itself. But it wasn't like he wasn't a dynamic athlete, right? Like you got to keep the arm fresh, but you definitely didn't have to. We just watched Phillip Rivers go out there looking the way that he did. He can still throw the ball around the yard. Like TB12, I'm not sure you had to do all that. Derrick Henry, I played against in college in the semifinal in 2014, his first year of the college football playoff. Dude is chiseled out of stone. He's as big as I am. I played linebacker at 255, 6'4", 255. That guy was every bit of 6'4.5" and 245 pounds toting the rock. So I could see where being an explosive athlete, taking the hits that he has to take, running as fast as he is and maintaining that weight, where it would be, yeah, I'm going to pound chicken breasts and I'm going to eat rice and all that kind of stuff. But the thing that trips me out, and the reason why I give him the slight edge, he doesn't eat most days until 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a little coffee, but then you're fasting. You're working out, you're going through practice, and you break your fast after all that. There's no shot in hell that I could make it to 4 o'clock as an athlete like that without having anything on my stomach. So totally insane. I get it a little bit more for him, but that's a crazier diet, no doubt.
So crazy. And I'm not an athlete. I couldn't make it till 4.
So I did a 72-hour fast real quick during the summer. So just water only. And the first day wasn't bad. The second day, every thought I had was about food. Like I could not think about anything other than what I wanted to eat to break that fast. And so the amount of discipline it takes to say you're going to get to a certain point every day without eating, to me, is insane.
Insane.
But like you said, guys like Phillip Rivers make me feel better about myself. You know, man, just roll out of bed with a dad bod and
thoughts
started
like
chucking it around the field.
Yeah, I could get back out there. I thought about it for a second.
Gives us all a little hope. All right, so Joshua, I saw tweets from you and Nicole, I think at the national championship game, where y'all were standing 5 feet from Tim Tebow and Marco Rubio having a conversation on one side, and then a few feet away on the other side, I think was Stephen A. Smith and Michael Irvin chatting it up. So my question was, if you could eavesdrop on either of those conversations, which one would it be and why?
It's hilarious because it was like 2 of my 3 worlds were colliding there on the field. I watched too much studio content of sports shows throughout the week. I also follow politics probably more closely than I should for my health. And then the third world is Real Housewives. I love Bravo. I love the Housewives. That wasn't anywhere near the field, so I didn't have to worry about that. I'm not exactly sure I would have wanted to overhear what Marco and Tim Tebow were talking about. Like, you know, however you feel about their politics is one thing, but I also felt like it wouldn't be juicy enough, right? Like Stephen A. Smith and the Playmaker bantering to me, like injected in my veins. I'm 31 years old, so like never really got to experience the Playmaker thing while he was out there balling. But seeing what he's like in some of the clips and the one-liners is insane. And then Stephen A. Smith, to me, is one of the most intriguing people in media because he has to be interesting and entertaining every day on a lot of topics. And oftentimes he's wrong and he has bad takes, but all of us do. And they just, he kind of throws it away and then tries to get aggregated the next day. He's doing the politics thing right now. He's doing soap operas right now. Like that's the conversation I wanted to be in the middle of 100%.
He's taller than you would expect.
That's the right answer. There's a lot more unhinged possibilities in that conversation than the other.
No doubt.
All right, MBG, what do you got?
All right, so Joshua, I think you might be the first former player we've had on here. No, wait, we had Mike Golick Jr. on. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We had another national champion, although he didn't get on the field.
Eric McLean, that's right. I'm sorry, but
I forgot
those guys are great.
Andy Staples too.
Yeah, Andy Staples, that's right.
Yeah.
So I'm forgetting a lot of them, but I always like to.
Please don't forget me.
I
won't. Think you're the first.
I would never. Right, you're the first in my mind. First in my mind, you're the first. But I always like to. I'm always curious as to how closely, as a player, you monitor message boards while you're playing, and if so, what was the craziest thing that you saw on there while you were perusing the boards?
So I did. I was a guy, for better or for worse, who looked at message boards, who searched my name on Twitter after games. Like I was very curious what discourse was like, and when people said things I didn't like, it gave me a little extra to go to work with. So I'm a huge fan of what y'all do, because I've got group chats, many of them, and we send these posts back and forth. The message boards are amazing. You know, like Herb Street did that thing where he talked about the lunatic fringe for Ohio State, and it 100% exists. I'm low key part of it, and I'm proud of that. But every fan base also has like the crazy people, and it's really interesting to see how they flow. There were a million accusations when I was at Ohio State of impropriety and cheating and paying players under the table. And I can't vouch for what went on, but the one thing I do know is we had the most annoying compliance department in the world. So like juxtaposing the accusations I would see on message boards versus the fact of like when I was in school, my dad gave me his car. He had a Lincoln Navigator that I wanted really badly. This was probably 2013. The car was like an 07, so it wasn't a new car. Gave it to me. The day I pulled up, they called my dad and they were like, we need to see a bill of sale because we need to know where that car came from. Right.
Man.
So like we weren't getting away with anything when I was there, because this was right off of the heels of some guys getting tattoos.
Right.
So that was interesting. And then nowadays, the message boards kill me, because all of these message board lawyers come out there and they're basically like listing indictments. And I'm like, you guys don't know anything, but everybody's an expert when it comes to the message board. And I love it.
Yeah. During the whole Michigan thing, there was all sorts of message board lawyers on all sides.
Yes. I mean, Ryan Day was going to get rung up on RICO charges, and you know all the things that we're saying about the Michigan side, like some of that stuff got insane. And then, by the way, like what happened with Sharon and some of the message board posts that came off of that, like they've had a rough couple years on the boards.
Yeah.
Rough. And I don't even post half of it. Like some of it's like not even suitable for public consumption.
Yeah, right. You gotta. Yeah, I've seen them, and you have to be choosy on what you put out.
We call it good for business.
Yeah. Anyone who goes to the board for legal advice or medical advice, those are two of our favorite genres there.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
But it is crazy how different things were back then. I remember, I think it was Julio Jones and Mark Ingram. Julio Jones is from down here in Foley in the same county as me. And he lives by the beach. So they went on a fishing trip, and they made them pay for that fishing trip after they got back.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a fishing trip, I mean, but it's crazy.
The stuff you see now with these guys, basically like rule-free world, they're hanging out I see guys in Columbus. I was at a steakhouse. It was me and my wife and a couple that we're friends with, and we watched a few Ohio State players and their families walk into a back room with a couple of boosters. And then across the restaurant, there was a different booster sitting over there with a different guy. These dudes are flying on jets with people nowadays. Mm-hmm. And like the idea that they were basically at a point a decade plus ago where they're like, I'm going to need to see an itemized receipt of everything that you have done. Like, just different worlds we're in right now.
It's crazy.
Can't believe what you had to deal with. I would sit and talk to you for hours about what you had to deal with personally on that stuff from the compliance standpoint. That's crazy.
Oh man, the compliance. I mean, they could be your friend, right? You stay out the way, they could be your friend, but boy, like they made things difficult. Difficult.
All right, Joshua, I sent you some message board posts I want to get your reaction to. I don't know how many of them will hit, but I want to get your reaction to a few of them. First one was from a Miami board, but I'm curious, what's your thought process just thinking about the fact that Indiana is the national champion? I'm guessing when you played, Indiana was nothing but an afterthought.
They were a speed bump.
Free win. I mean, you know, we made the joke, and it wasn't really a joke. We would play Indiana at Indiana. That was the day that they would take their program photo because the stadium was filled with red. And it was Buckeye fans, but it looked good. So it's a different world. I've made the argument, and it's hilarious and also crazy, but I believe it, that Curt Cignetti is the greatest coach to ever put a whistle on. I'm not sure anybody takes and I get that the world is different in terms of how you can build out rosters and things that you can do to flip a situation. But the losingest program up until halfway through this year, they win a national title within 2 years of that man getting there. He brings their first national title, first Big Ten championship in ages, beat Ohio State for the first time in probably my lifetime. I watched him win the postseason for the first time in my lifetime. There's things we've never seen before. First Heisman that they've ever had. I mean, I love Saban. Respect the hell out of him. I played for Urban. I think he's phenomenal. Like Kurt Cignetti, man. Saban might have suppressed Cignetti from the world. Like, no, brother, you're going to go D2. You're going to work your way up. And then by time you get a Power 4 job, I'm going to be ready to retire. That's how good Cignetti is.
So this post I sent you is from a Miami board. And this Miami fan wasn't too happy about losing to Indiana. This is the Miami investor. He says, let me tell y'all what drives me nuts about Indiana winning this thing. These guys don't even watch Indiana football a few years ago. They don't have people who live and die with their program like us. Miami fans deserve this much more than these Indiana people. We have suffered for 2 decades and lived and died with every game and recruit. So you think Miami fans deserve that more than Indiana fans?
It's such an intriguing thing that fans associate themselves so closely with the program that they judge who should win a title off of what fan base deserves it more at that juncture. That's the thing. And again, it's this lunatic fringe idea, but they're like, I am much more invested in the success of my program than these other people. So we deserve the joy of the championship more. Miami, it's good that they're back in a lot of ways. I also think Twitter would have been insufferable this offseason had Miami won the title. Like the Miami Twitter, they drag you out into deep waters, and their fans are some of the best when it comes to being crazy people. So I'm glad that we didn't have the offseason of Miami celebration on Twitter.
Yeah.
They're like the Tennessee fans of the ACC.
Ooh, wait.
Well, I like the
It's
idea
not
that
even- it's
Indiana
the
fans
nation.
hadn't suffered, right?
Tennessee fans, by the way, last year, because they came to the Horseshoe for, oh my God, I didn't know how crazy they were up until that moment. They went on like Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever and renamed Ohio Stadium to like Neyland North or whatever. And it's like, okay, you guys win Twitter, like you got it. This is crazy.
They're really insane.
We call them special.
Well, on that note, crazy enough, I sent you a post from a Tennessee fan. I love this post so much. It's from Rostoval 37. SEC fans are really trying to grasp with the new reality of college football. So this guy says, the Big Ten wants to make it a debate. Conference depth and quality isn't even a debate. The SEC is far superior. The Big Ten had 2 to 3 top teams that can have the discussion. Anyone else in the Big Ten would struggle to finish top half of the SEC. 3 straight natties isn't nothing, but come on. About 12 Big Ten teams know before the season they won't sniff the playoff without a miraculous season. Hell, Vandy pushed for a playoff spot in the SEC. I feel like he loses his argument with the last sentence there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because then Vandy went and got beat by. I love Iowa, but I thought SEC was speed and space and all that kind of stuff. And you got a bunch of dudes who grew up in cornfields that can't run very well. That put 31 upon you. Like, kind of lost me on that one. The postseason record thing isn't the same as when I was playing, but it's really difficult for me when your 2 postseason wins were Group of 5, and then Michigan after their coach had to be fired in disgrace. Like it feels like we're at a little bit of a changing of the guard here between who's really running stuff in college football. And I know it felt like it was 2 to 3 teams at the top, but again, when you saw what Iowa did to Vanderbilt, like one of those teams got credit all year for doing things. The other one played Indiana as well as anybody all regular season. They had Oregon against the ropes. We forget about that. Like, these are some good football teams that are in the middle of the Big Ten Conference, and because they're guys in cornfields and it's not sexy, we don't talk about it like that.
People laughed at Indiana because they almost lost to Penn State, but maybe the bottom of the Big Ten is just that good.
I mean, listen, I feel like there's one of the things that has been exposed to me, and it was the way Urban liked to build his coaching staff. But the first question he would ask guys is, how well do you recruit? Like, let me see your recruiting wins. And I think a lot of programs in the South are still building like that. And one of the advantages of Big Ten football was Wisconsin and Iowa and Illinois and those kinds of programs always understood that they would never recruit at the highest levels nationally, but they could coach their ass off. They could develop as well as anybody. And I think the idea that the Big Ten already had the development infrastructure through a lot of their programs and how they've traditionally hired has allowed them to adapt to this world a little bit better. You throw the NIL money in there and they're already getting players they probably wouldn't have gotten before. But I think there are some staffs that still have guys who they value as recruiters that can't coach worth a damn right now. And it's starting to show on the field.
So speaking of coaches, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about our friend Lane Kiffin. So there was a post on an SEC board. It says, is Kiffin not just the same thing as Brian Kelly? Kelly came to LSU because he believed he couldn't win at Notre Dame. Ironically, his successor eventually made it to the national championship 2 years later. Kiffin bolts from Ole Miss because he believes the environment is not conducive to a championship culture. So same shite, different a-hole, basically. Is that what's happening at LSU? Just same old shite and just a different a-hole running the show?
I was having this conversation earlier. I think the Lane Kiffin sweepstakes got a little bit crazy for me because he hasn't proven to me that he is a guy who can develop a full program. One of the best offensive minds out there, no doubt about that. Tamper King, he knows how to go the back channels to get the players that he wants. I still feel like after years, they haven't really figured out how to do the elite defense thing, which I think you need to be a championship coach. So for me, I'm very much in wait and see mode, but this felt a lot like what Brian Kelly did, right? Mm-hmm. And like he leaves Notre Dame a couple years later playing for a title. Lane Kiffin leaves same season. I know it's a lot of his guys, but like Pete Golding had those dudes playing like they were really trying to do something. And I think the pressure's on at LSU. And it's a place historically where people are able to win. And I'm not exactly sure how much patience they're going to have if he's not knocking on the door pretty early in his tenure. So that one interests me a ton. But Lane Kiffin, I think, is a very good coach. But, you know, let's give him $13 million and, like, we'll entertain all the circus that happened around it. I don't know if I'd have gone that far.
Nope.
I don't disagree there.
No, I think that's spot on.
All right. So one more. I can't let you go without an Ohio State board post. Okay. One thing that I've always loved about the Ohio State boards is Ryan Day can never win with Ohio State fans. That poor guy, he never loses, but for some reason he can never win. So obviously this year losing in the playoffs didn't sit well for some. So there was a post that said, honestly, we are better off with Day going to the league and bringing Marcus in. Speaking of Marcus Freeman. So do you think Ohio State would be better getting rid of Day and bringing in Marcus Freeman? A lot of presumptions there.
There's a ton of presumptions. So I was one of the people after they lost to Michigan in 24 where I was like, I think we've seen enough of what we need to see. And part of that was I had no faith that they were going to make the title run that they did. Since that point, Ryan Day has earned my respect, not just as a winner and a guy who became a champ, but like that span for him was difficult because of the message boards and the lunatic fringe and all the crazy people. And they had security outside of his house. He lives not too far from where I'm at. And like, it's that whole thing was pure insanity. So you have an early out in the college football playoff after having a 12-0 regular season and losing to the eventual champ in the Big Ten championship game by 3 points. And then the eventual, runner up. in a game that was kind of ugly, and everybody's at your neck again. And that's just, it's like the seasons in Columbus. It's just how it turns. I think it's crazy that we're back here with some people this quickly. The extra crazy part to me, and I love Marcus Freeman. He was a GA at Ohio State when I was getting recruited there. I've known him since I was a teenager. He has not beaten Ryan Day. Like, I get he's one of us, right? Like, that's what people want. It's the thing that they always say, Ryan Day is from the Northeast. He doesn't get it. Marcus Freeman has not gotten a win over Ryan Day. I don't know how you justify that. And so that's where, like, it's off the rails for 100,000 reasons. But you kind of get to this point, and a lot of people were saying it, and I didn't like it, but it's real. Who are you going to get that you legitimately believe is better than Ryan Day at this juncture? The list is real small. We're seeing guys now that are avoiding taking these big jobs because they don't want to be in the spot that Ryan's in, where you got to be damn near perfect or else they're going to be coming for you, right? Like, who are you going to get? And the names that are being tossed around are guys who have lost to Ryan Day.
I'll give you one name, Urban.
The message boards
John Gruden.
John Gruden. Great name that people like to throw in.
John Gruden, Saban's coming back.
Oh God. Yeah. Urban's just waiting in the wings. Yeah, and then John Gruden, like, we're just gonna forget all of the things that have happened with him, and like, he's the guy. He's the guy.
They could probably get Schiano if they had enough money.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. By the way, Ryan Day's finished below 6th in the AP poll one time in one season.
I don't think he's had more than 2 losses in a year.
Right.
82-12. It's insane.
Jiminy Christmas.
That's like, whenever people were mad about the DeBoer hire, and they're like, we wanted Lanning, we wanted Sark, and it's like, he's beat both of them.
So can we have the conversation about both those guys real quick? I know we're running up against it.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
But Dan Lanning, phenomenal, right? Like, great in front of the media, does the program building, he can recruit. Seems like he's got the big game problem. And a lot of guys have that problem until they don't. But this idea of him being like everybody's top candidate feels a little bit over the top. And then Sark, very similar thing. And I think it's going to get, if Texas isn't what people think they can be this year, it's going to get very weird for him. He won't give up the play sheet, very much like Lane Kiffin, where offensive mastermind, but things seem to just get away from him a little bit. But again, like, those are two guys where every opening, it feels like their name is right in the middle of it. And I get it, but I don't get it to a certain degree.
It's like it's the popular choice.
Yeah. I mean, couple handsome dudes, right? Like, they look good on the sideline. They got a lot of talent. Like, I see the appeal, but like, at some point we got to be real about what's going on.
Willie Taggart was a hot name at one point too.
Wow. Willie Taggart got a lot of the programs that he left have had a lot of success since. It's kind of crazy. It's like he must have just laid the foundation and then gotten the hell out.
He's like, peace.
Yeah.
Well, Joshua, man, I appreciate you coming on and giving us some time.
That was fun.
Late tonight. It was awesome.
Let us know where we can find you, please.
All right. Well, you can find me on Twitter at Mr. Joshua Perry. My agent made me change my Twitter name because he didn't like it. It's the same name I have on Instagram right now, at RIP_JEP. He's like, you're not dead, so you should change it, which is true. But that's where you can find me. I'm interactive. I reply to tweets. I reply to comments on Instagram. So if you ever want to chop it up or tell me that I'm stupid, I'm willing to entertain.
I would never do that.
Me either.
No, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
I appreciate you having me.
All right, that'll do it for this week's episode of the MBG podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. You can check out more content at messageboardgeniuses.com. And we'll see you next time, losers.